Oiler fans are fired up following last night's huge win against the Vancouver Canucks with the help of that smug face right there, Corey Perry, helping out the Oilers with his veteran wily ways. All that more today on Oilers Digest as we recap that huge win last night. But first, if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do so. If you're part of the 18% that have subscribed, we'd like to thank each and every one of you. But if you're part of the larger bar, that 82% folks, what are you waiting for? Make sure you subscribe here to the channel for any and all Oiler news, game recaps, game previews, whatever you want, we have it here on the channel, so make sure you subscribe. But without further ado, let's get right into the recap. Six to be a Canucks fan. Yes, last night the Oilers in Canucks. Many eyes on this one last night, even though it was a bit of a later start. I mean, many were anticipating this one to see what was going to happen. Was it going to be a blowout? Was it going to be close? And folks, it was a blowout. 6-2. The Oilers take this one over the stumbling, the bumbling, the rumbling Vancouver Canucks, as Vancouver has no idea what to do with this roster as JT Miller and Elias Pettersson at each other's throats, and the Canucks management not too sure exactly what to do at this stage of the season. But the Oilers scoring 3 goals in the first period. Normally it's the other way around with the Oilers going down 2 or 3 before the end of the first period. But Zach Hyman opening it up almost 5 minutes, 6 minutes into the first period after a gorgeous pass from Leon Draisaitl. I'm not kidding. That's probably one of the best passes Leon Draisaitl has ever made in his career. And he's had a lot of those passes throughout, the 9 years he's been in the National Hockey League. But Leon Draisaitl, wow, Connor McDavid making his mark on this one as he also fired one home on the power play from Zach Hyman and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, his league-leading 35th of the year. He is on pace for 60 goals, and not even after 20 seconds after that, the PA announcer was still announcing the Leon Draisaitl goal when Mattias Ekholm fires one off the backboards behind Thatcher Demko, and Adam Henrique picks it up with a cheeky wraparound past Thatcher Demko as the Oilers make it 3-0 before the end of the first, and the Oilers continue to pile it on here. Noah Philp with a nice spinorama pass onto the tape of the bubbleless Zach Hyman. Yes, Zach Hyman for the first time since December 16th, a month in a bit with the protective face bubble. But Zach Hyman, he's been free from his cage, and he got on the score sheet last night with his 17th of the year. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, again, without Connor McDavid, really making it known on the power play that the Nuge is always huge, from Leon Draisaitl and Evan Bouchard making up 5-0 Oilers. And of course, the Canucks wanted to make it interesting there with Brock Besser and Philip Hronek making it 5-2 before the end of the second. Of course, the second period had some fireworks that continued over from Saturday night, and we'll get into that a little bit. But, the Oilers making it 6-2 with Kasperi Kapanen getting the insurance goal. Of course, many were, holding on to their seats. Less than 10 minutes left. Can the Oilers, hold on to this one? And they did with Kasperi Kapanen getting that 6th goal from Ty Emberson. But the Oilers dominating the Vancouver Canucks on, the not just the score sheet, but everything else. Shots on goal 34-26 in favor of Edmonton. Of course, the hits not so much, but the Oilers made up for it and more than that. Vancouver taking the face-offs. But again, face-offs, they do matter, but they also don't matter in a time like this. Of course, the Oilers, held possession for a good chunk of the game, and the Oilers going 2 for 4 on their power play. Meanwhile, the Vancouver Canucks did not get a power play, because whenever, there was an opportunity for Vancouver to get a power play, the Oilers managed to always even things up. You can see there the penalty summary. A rough night for Vinny Desharnais, taking 3 penalties last night. Of course, that's not really the return that he wanted to give the Edmonton faithful for 2 seasons that he did play with the Edmonton Oilers. 3 seasons, I do believe it was, not 2. But yeah, with cross-checking, tripping, and of course you can see there the interference call both in the second period. But you can see there Corey Perry, of course, making his presence known as he got the 2 minutes for roughing, and he also got the takedown last night on Quinn Hughes. And also in the third period as well, of course, Troy Stecher did trip up Teddy Bluger, and Teddy Bluger tried to get into a fight with Corey Perry for, of course, the retribution for the Quinn Hughes tackle, but Corey Perry was having none of it, and Teddy Bluger got the 2 minutes for roughing, and it turned it into 4 on 4. But Kris Knoblauch was very happy with the way the Oilers played last night. He said, "I'm happy with all our players. I thought they played a really good game, and anytime there was a breakdown, picks, Calvin Pickard came up with some big saves. Of course, I haven't mentioned Calvin Pickard a lot in this video, but a 923 last night. Of course, didn't have a busy night, but he had still a solid night nonetheless. It's, not much you can ask for from your backup other than that, but Knoblauch adding on here. But you look at the lines, Leon has, his line has 3 points tonight. Rico's line spent a lot of time in the ozone. Hyman gets 2 goals, couldn't get that third one, even though the Roger Plays crowd was ready to chuck their hats onto the ice. And of course, the fourth line, Noah Phillips sets up 1 goal, and Cappy gets the one at the end. I thought everyone was contributing, and everyone was contributing when it comes to the hockey stat card here. I don't want to say anybody had a bad game last night. Of course, Troy Stetcher, a bit of a rough one, but he was involved in the scrum there in the second period, of course, sticking up for Calvin Pickard when the Garden Gnome, Connor Garland, took a bit of a hard poke at, Calvin Pickard, and the Oiler faithful took exception to that. So Troy Stetcher sticking up for his goalie. But again, nobody really had a bad game there. Everyone was very solid from start to finish. And the Oilers are, again, solid from start to finish, dominating the scoring chances for 37-19. You can see there Edmonton on the top, Vancouver on the bottom with a 66% scoring chance for percentage, and Edmonton dominating the high danger chances for, only giving up 3, while Vancouver gave up 21 from the Oilers last night. So again, top to bottom, I can't, I'm not complaining about that game at all whatsoever. Of course, the Oilers had, one thing on their mind, and that was the 2 points. Meanwhile, Vancouver had a lot on their minds, and it was almost like they were trying to get revenge for Saturday night. Meanwhile, Edmonton had a focus, came into the game with a game plan, and it worked to perfection, with the Oilers really crowding around Thatcher Demko last night. Meanwhile, Vancouver, you can see there a lot more around the crease of Calvin Pickard compared to Edmonton, again, who was just, all over the Vancouver Canucks. I don't know how many times I have to say it, but they were just truly and fairly dominant. And still, that was without Connor McDavid. So this team still has levels to hit. You can see there the deserve to win-o-meter. I can't remember the last time I saw the Oilers dominate 90% of the game, maybe against, the Los Angeles Kings. There was a game in the playoffs last year where the Oilers, again, all over LA, but in the regular season, you don't see that too often, even though it should with the way the Oilers are playing. But speaking of 90, yes, Corey Perry of the Edmonton Oilers made his presence known last night to the Vancouver Canucks, and, in many years prior, Corey Perry would be on the other side, agitating the Edmonton Oilers, making everybody hate him in Edmonton, myself included, when he was a member of the Anaheim Ducks. Of course, many of those encounters, the 2017 playoffs, and even the 2021 Canadian division, when Corey Perry was a member of the Montreal Canadiens, and the Oilers saw them 9 times, and you really got acquainted with a lot of those Canadian teams in that division. I'd never want to see that again. But Corey Perry, now you get to cheer for him. Isn't that such a weird feeling? Of course, he's been with the Oilers for a year in it, but it feels weird to love him. But still, it's a welcome feeling with Corey Perry being an agitator, a rat, anything you name it. Corey Perry is it. You can see there from Paul Almeida there on Twitter, the Corey Perry game summary tackling Quinn Hughes. You can see there in the top 2 squares, and then Teddy Bluger, trying to get Corey Perry into a fight, and Corey Perry is having none of it. Considering where the Oilers were at in the game, Corey Perry wasn't gonna let the Vancouver Canucks back into this one. You can see there JT Miller and Corey Perry having a little bit of a friendly chat before after the second, before the second intermission there. Of course, Corey Perry joked around, asked JT Miller what he had for dinner, but JT Miller taking exception to the Quinn Hughes hit. But I mean, Connor Garland and McDavid, Corey Perry and Quinn Hughes there, eye for an eye. Of course, it makes the whole world blind, but Corey Perry, again, being an agitator, doing what he does best, and Leon Draisaitl agrees. He's probably the best at it. He knows when to do what at the right, or he knows what to do at the right times. That's just a mature, really smart hockey play. I know it has nothing to do with hockey, but it is a hockey play, and of course, it's the game within the game, trying to get the other team under. You're trying to get under their skin. You're trying to, get them off the game of hockey, get their mind off the game of hockey, and just trying to go after you. And Corey Perry doing that to perfection, and the stats also back it up. Perry is built for these games, and he couldn't have played his role as a heel any better, using a little bit of pro wrestling terminology there. His ability to stay composed in these kinds of games is nothing short of impressive, continuously drawing penalties on the season. He's now drawn a team-leading 19 penalties, a mark among the league's tops, considering, when you account for his limited ice time, averaging just 11.5 minutes per night. He's drawn 2.12 penalties per hour, a mark that is third in the league amongst all players with over 500 minutes. And Kris Knoblauch, of course, had to agree with that. He said he was in a free scrums. He was getting involved playing his game. That started in the second period. There was a lot of talk. In fact, I heard it in the second period as I was walking off. They were yelling at Corey about fighting, and there's maybe some conversation I can't talk about right now, just on word use. They're looking for him. He got under their skin. They're looking for a fight, and the timing was perfect for us. Instead of being shorthanded, we're playing 4-on-4 instead, and that's really what it's all about for the Oilers. They're just trying to even things up and get under the skin of the other team. It's not too often you see the Oilers, do that. They, seem to make the opponents pay for it on the score sheet instead of trying to get under their skin. But again, when they do it, it works to perfection. Corey Perry, love the man. Now, what can I say? But the Oilers will not see the Vancouver Canucks for the rest of the season, as the weird divisional scheduling there, where the Oilers only see some teams of the Pacific Division 3 times. Meanwhile, they will see the others 4 times. But the Oilers take this one 2-1 by scores of 7-3, losing this one on Saturday 3-2, and beating the Canucks 6-2 last night. Boy, it is sweet to say the Edmonton Oilers own the Vancouver Canucks, and I will not have to hear any slander or chatter from the Vancouver Canuck fans the rest of the season, because I can just mute them the rest of the way, folks. Isn't that just sweet? But you know what else is sweet? The schedule for what's next for the Edmonton Oilers. Yes, the Edmonton Oilers do have a day off today, but they will be back tomorrow afternoon against the Buffalo Sabres, who dropped the game last night against the Calgary Flames 5-2, but this will be an afternoon one, a 2 o'clock Mountain Star, 3 o'clock Central, and the return of Ryan McLeod to Edmonton. So should be an exciting one to see. And Vegas and Edmonton still in the Pacific Division arms race. The Vegas Golden Knights did win last night. They beat the St. Louis Blues, pulling ahead of the Edmonton Oilers by 1 point. There's 64 compared to Edmonton's 63, and hopefully the Oilers do catch the Vegas Golden Knights by the end of the year. But before we end today's video, let's just take a moment to bask in the glory of Leon Draisaitl. In the 5 games without Connor McDavid this season, he has recorded 11 points. So to those that are saying that Leon Draisaitl is a product of Connor McDavid, they simply do not know what they are talking about. And I think he will get he should be getting every trophy known to man in the hockey world this year. The Rocket, he's been in my eyes, he's played some really defensive hockey so far this season. I wouldn't say a Selke candidate, but it's been better than in prior years. The Rock Bouchard on pace for 60. So Leon Draisaitl doing Leon Draisaitl things, and that is the power of German engineering. And that is it for today's video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about last night's game. Do you love Corey Perry now? Isn't that weird to say as an Oiler fan? But make sure you subscribe here to the channel, and we will be back to preview Sabres Oilers tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your Friday, folks. The weekend is here. Take care. I'm Matt.